Maddie wishes for Faith to find her true love before Christmas. The town works its magic, and Faith has too many suitors. She only finds comfort in her best friend, Wyatt, who helps her out. Christmas has always been a magical time in Faith's hometown, Ponchatoula. Things have happened that can't be explained rationally. When her grandparents were kids, a boy wished for a pony and found it mysteriously in his backyard the next morning. When Faith's parents were teenagers, their teacher asked for a solution to her financial struggles. Soon enough, she found a lottery ticket. The whole town started believing in real magic, including her family. This is why her name is Faith, and she used to be excited about wishes as a kid. With her sister, Maddie, they put their wishes in the wishing box every December and wrote their deepest desires. They grabbed hands and closed their eyes before dropping it in the box. The tradition of the Wish Committee began around that time, and some people got their wishes granted due to them. It also felt like some other wishes were granted by something bigger. Faith used to believe in the impossible during Christmas back then. Things are different now that she has grown up. She watches as her student, Stella, puts a wish in the box. Mr. Porter has kept the craft store open early, especially for Faith. It's the last day before winter break, so her students are finishing their homemade gifts. She thinks they're a work of art and wants to stock up on the supplies so they have everything. Porter thinks she always goes above and beyond, but Faith just loves her students. She doesn't have big Christmas plans, except spending it with Maddie and her new boyfriend. Faith feels she's too old for the wishing box, but Porter has already put his wish. He doesn't want to reveal what it is, in case it doesn't come true. She's glad he's a true believer. Since Faith's mother is in the Wish Committee, she knows how all this works. The box has existed before the committee, but Faith has still stopped believing. Talia at the coffee shop teases Faith about Andrew, who she has a crush on. She's too scared to talk to him, but Talia feels she should give it a try. Faith's best friend, Wyatt, finds her outside the shop. She agrees to reluctantly give him half a cookie. They come across a woman who drops her presents because she has torn her boots. Faith helps her out and gives her own heels to the woman. She doesn't feel good accepting it, but Faith asks her to think of it as a gift. She feels grateful and doesn't know how she can repay Faith. She assumes Faith and Wyatt are a couple, but they clarify they're not together. Wyatt enthusiastically greets Greta, who is coming back from dance class. Faith hopes she remains that cool in her 70s and gets a new hobby. Faith and Wyatt discuss what they can do in old age and hope they still stay friends. Faith is impressed with everything her students and have come up with and helps them get better. Stella feels her pot is ruined because it's cracked. Faith sees a golden opportunity and asks her to change her perspective. She makes a strand of light to fix it and promises to put a sealant inside. Principal Wilson calls Faith to his office. He informs her that the school board is cutting the entire funding for the arts program. That money is earmarked for technology upgrades, so the art room is being turned into a computer lab. He asks her to clear out her room, but Faith is more worried about the kids. She feels they can only express themselves in her class. Wilson claims he did his best, and she understands. Wyatt notices how disappointed Faith looks. He feels bad about her getting fired, and knows the music department is suffering too. Faith doesn't understand why people think art and music are disposable. Wyatt tries to be there for Faith, because he knows she loves her work. He assures her she will figure something out like she always does. Wyatt's family is busy that year, so Faith offers to let him spend the holidays with her family. Wyatt doesn't want to impose, especially since he knows Maggie is coming. But he's planning to get a Christmas tree and asks for her help. Faith is glad to finally meet Maggie, who has come from Colorado. Her boyfriend, Ryan, seems to be doing well with the family. Faith gives Ryan 2 bottles of wine, and he already likes her. Ryan feels like being an art teacher must be rewarding, and Faith agrees without giving details. They prepare to decorate gingerbread cookies, even if Ryan hasn't decorated since he was 10. Faith began a celebrity gingerbread competition, which stuck on as a tradition in their family. They all have their specialties, but Faith usually wins because of her out-of-the-box ideas. Once they're done with the decorations, Faith informs them about how each cookie will be rated. While her father, Robert, makes the Grinch, her mother, Joyce, has made Mick Jagger this time. Maddie is winning till only Ryan and Faith's cookies are left. Everyone loves Ryan's details, but no one understands what Faith has made. Ryan eventually wins the competition, and the women end up in the kitchen. When Joyce leaves for bed, Maddie can tell something is troubling Faith. She explains what happened at school and is still trying to process it. Maddie suggests getting ice cream and thanks Faith for being so nice to Ryan. Faith already likes him because he makes Maddie happen. Maddie asks about the coffee shop guy and suggests spilling hot cocoa on him so they can talk. She's inspired by the movies, but Faith wants something more real. Maddie decides to put something in the wish box for old time's sake. The ladies at the wish committee have already picked out the wishes they're going to fulfill. But Maddie's is special because she believes everything is possible at Christmas. Faith snatches her wish and learns that Maddie asked for Faith to have a true love's kiss. She believes a great love story could come out of it. She makes Faith put the wish in the box so it has more chances of coming true. As the wind blows, the wish flies out of the box and ends up at the feet of the woman Faith helped that day. Faith has a new neighbor the next morning who has shifted with his son. He hands her paper and is glad he ran into her. She asks him to come to her if he needs help with anything. Maddie is looking for the gift card she got for her dad. Ryan asks her to look in the outside pocket of his carry-on. A ring box falls out of his jacket, but Maddie pretends she didn't see anything. She keeps it back in the jacket and assures Ryan he will do great with her dad. Robert is a police officer, but Maddie knows Ryan doesn't have to worry about anything. Joyce is assigned her wish for the year, which is for a boy named Michael. She's disappointed she just needs to get theater tickets for him and his grandfather Louis. It feels too easy because she's used to grand gestures. Maddie explains how Joyce made them all take part in a surprise engagement once. She arranged for carriages, reindeer, a choir, and fireworks. Ryan is impressed with how grand that is, and Maddie finds it very romantic. A guy on a bike trips Faith outside the coffee shop. She lands straight into Andrew's arms. He claims to have seen her there before. She has suddenly been on his mind lately, and he asks her out for dinner that night. Faith is overwhelmed and asks Maddie to join her for brunch. Wyatt wants to discuss some ideas with Faith about the art program. Faith is also planning to talk to the school board at the district holiday party. She wants to convince them to save the art department. They get distracted by a flash mob, which is a part of granting Greta's wish. Wyatt doesn't know the steps, but joins them. Ryan has never ridden a police car before, but he always wanted to as a kid. He either wanted to be a police officer or a rock singer. Maddie mentioned that Robert used to be in a band. He was a drummer, but gave up his sticks when the girls were little. He didn't want to add more noise with toddlers. He misses it, but knows every man has to grow up one day. Maddie informs Faith about the ring box, and she tells her about her date. Maddie thinks it must be because of the wish she made, because the timing is perfect. Faith also gets a drink she didn't order from a random guy. She feels weird that guys are finally noticing her. Wyatt hides a present when he hears a knock on his door. His elder brother, Grant, surprises him with his daughter, Meg. His husband, James, is also in the parking. James' dad accidentally booked their cruise for next year, so they decided to surprise Wyatt for the holidays. Faith is excited about meeting them and invites them for tree shopping. Joyce informs Talia about getting assigned a wish for her younger brother, Michael. Talia explains that their grandfather is sick and can't travel to the theater Joyce has booked for them. But Grandpa Louis loves Dickens and had promised to show them A Christmas Carol live one day. This is tougher than Joyce expected, but promises to grant his wish somehow. Faith runs into her student, Aiden, and his mother, Gwen. Aiden loves her classes and has asked for paints this Christmas. Gwen asks Faith to continue what she's doing because she is making an impact. Meg thinks the woman Faith helped is Mrs. Klaus. She plays along and claims Santa is busy making rounds. Meg asks her to tell Santa she is staying with her Uncle Wyatt this time. She wants to make sure Santa finds her because they were supposed to be on a cruise. Mrs. Klaus promises to help her and is glad to see Faith and Wyatt again. Wyatt wants an unconventional tree, so Faith suggests splitting up. A man drops hot cocoa on her and gives her his jacket to clean it. Wyatt knows the man was flirting with her, but Faith doesn't believe it. When Wyatt finds the perfect tree, she helps them get it home. She asks Wyatt to enjoy family time. He asks her help to decorate the tree, but she informs him about her date with Andrew. He asks her to enjoy it and promises to meet her the next day while she clears out her art room. Joyce is trying to get 12 costumes delivered 3 days before Christmas. She is staging an abridged version of the Christmas Carol for Louis and Michael since Louis can't travel. She has cleared it from Father Nelson, who will give them enough time before the service on Christmas Eve. She has added Robert's name in the cast list too. On her date with Andrew, Faith admits she did some internet research on him. She knows he's not on social media and hasn't been arrested. Since he was at Stanford, she wonders how he ended up in a small town like theirs. He has opened up a family law practice recently, which he feels might be boring for her. Faith thinks every profession is interesting if the person loves their work. He's in awe of her because of how creative she is. He doesn't seem to understand the artwork her kids made, but he thinks the painting she made is amazing and suggests that she should sell it. Faith thinks it's too personal to sell because it's her passion. Teaching also gives her a different kind of satisfaction. Wyatt gets muffins for Faith when she's trying to pack her stuff. Since she's emotional, he asks her to start by just packing items in boxes. He doesn't think she'll have to throw them, he believes she can convince the board. Maddie comes with supplies and is glad to finally meet Wyatt. He brags about the tree he picked and shows Faith how he decorated it. Maddie notices how comfortable they are with each other. She needs to leave because she's helping Joyce with her play, but she asks about Faith's date, so Wyatt moves away to give them privacy. Faith thinks it was good, but it didn't end in a kiss. When Maddie leaves, Wyatt asks about her date too. She claims it was fun, but not as much as decorating a tree with dinosaurs would be. Robert comes to Joyce with some notes on his dialogues. His character seems too mean, but she reminds him he's playing Scrooge. Faith thinks Wyatt has helped too much and shows him some portraits the kids made. She knows the kids need them, and she needs to make the district holiday party that night count. Wyatt pretends he forgot about the party, but assures her he will always be there for her. Robert and Joyce meet Louis and Michael while they're out for a stroll. Talia introduces them, and Michael claims he loves Faith's classes. It's Louis' birthday on Christmas Eve, so Joyce hopes he gets whatever he wishes for. Faith gets a call from Andrew, who wants to meet her. Maddie asks Ryan for Tiny Tim's crutch. He takes her to the back room and makes her stand at a spot. He bends down on one knee when she feels like he's going to propose. He switches on the lights. He claims he made this setup for the ghost of Christmas past. He's thinking of pitching this idea to Joyce, but Maddie hurries out of there. Faith is impressed Andrew got in touch again so soon. He's leaving for a ski trip the next day and wants to have dinner that night. She has a work thing, which he understands. He's excited about a present he got because it reminded him of her. It turns out to be a book about turning art into profit. Faith tries to be polite and doesn't show that she hates it. When she tries to grab coffee, the same guy from before spills coffee again on her. Faith feels irritated with all the attention with he and Andrew help her out. Meg is happy with the decorations, and James takes her along. Grant teases Wyatt about Faith because he's sure something is going on between them. Wyatt informs him about Andrew, but Grant thinks he has a better short with her. He asks him to make a move and decides to tag along. Faith is glad Wyatt also brought Grant for the party. Grant is pretending to be an art gallery owner who wants to set up scholarships for kids. He thinks he'll get along great with Maddie, since she also loves parties. Their plan is create organic conversation with the board members. Faith approaches Principal Wilson, who introduces her to the school board member, Guy Woodbury. Faith has already read up all about him and knows he has children. Faith tries to talk to him about art, but Guy only understands numbers. Grant manages to gather a crowd willing to listen to his story. Wyatt tries to convince another member. Maddie also tries to talk to someone. When Faith and Wyatt regroup, neither of them has had any luck convincing the members. As a Christmas song starts playing, Wyatt takes Faith to the dance floor. He nervously tries to tell her something, but Faith spots the head of the school board, Marilyn. She just needs a minute with her, so Wyatt distracts Wilson. Faith introduces herself as the art teacher. Marilyn assures her they considered all the upsides before they made the decision. Faith feels art is more about kids opening up and expressing themselves. Art was luckily Marilyn's favorite class in school too. She used to walk around with a sketchbook and drew ice skaters with her grandma. Faith knows she can get through her and offers to show her some work the kids have been doing. She starts showing her the picture, but the singer comes between them. When he starts flirting with Faith, she tries to ignore him. But Marilyn gets distracted and the singer wants more time with her. Faith tries to chase after her, but bumps into the guy who drops coffee again. She approaches Marilyn again, but John turns up at the party to flirt with her too. When Wilson takes Marilyn along to meet someone, Faith walks out in frustration. She is tired of everyone hitting on her because of the wish. She almost got through Marilyn, but the wish seems to be ruining everything. She wishes that she had never put the wish in the box. Maddie wants to take it back and put a new wish in the box. They look around everywhere, but the box seems to be lost or stolen. Robert is trying to get footage from the park to find where the box went. This is the first time the box has disappeared in front of Joyce. When Faith is chatting alone with Maddie, she gets a message from Wyatt checking up on her. She ignores it and feels like there could be other ways to break the wish. She Googles it and does everything from trying a magic lamp to dropping coins in a pond to undo it. She even asks Santa at the North Pole to undo her wish, but a worker hits on her. Faith is tired of men ogling at her or dropping coffee on her. She also feels it's creepy when they touch her or catch her when she falls. She feels boring stuff is more romantic, like stability, loyalty, and someone who knows her coffee order. Faith doesn't think any kiss is worth all this. Maddie feels she might have to tolerate a few frogs to get her prince. They realize the wish is about true love's kiss, so only that can end the madness. Maddie suggests they should fulfill it and stop Andrew before he leaves. Faith finds him before he leaves town. She claims she has come to say goodbye and kisses him. She apologizes for being spontaneous, but he doesn't mind. He's still supposed to leave, but hopes to meet her when he gets back. Faith feels good about the chances of that working, but a man suddenly approaches her and hits on her. She lets Wyatt into her house and hugs him because she had a bad day. He wants to discuss what he started telling her at the party last night. When he hesitates, she assures him he can tell her anything. Wyatt explains that he loves their friendship, but he has been wondering if they can be more than that. Faith feels like he's also hitting on her because of the wish. She tries to explain that he will get over this feeling in a few days. She's sure he's confused and his feelings aren't genuine. He explains that he was seeing someone when they met, so he got put in the friend zone. But he confesses that he's in love with her. Faith still insists none of this is real and thinks it is all a cosmic joke. Wyatt thinks she's not interested and has made it clear she doesn't feel the same way. Faith shares all this with Maddie and feels sad about the look on Wyatt's face. Maddie feels his feelings might be genuine because he has known her for a long time. Faith still feels suspicious about the timing. She doesn't think it makes sense for Wyatt to bring it up now after the wish has been made. Robert calls Faith to let her know the box has been found. Her students, Aiden and Stella, stole the box and swear they were going to put it back. Robert shows Faith the wishes, and it seems like they were trying to do a good thing. The kids replaced all the wishes with new ones about saving their art program. They claim all the kids wanted to change their wishes after they heard about the program being canceled. Faith is moved by this gesture. She asks the kids to help the school board understand the value of the art department. She asks Joyce for help and takes some extra supplies from Mr. Porter. The kids distribute pamphlets inviting everyone to their art show on Christmas Eve. Faith prepares their art class so the kids can all come in and paint. She explains that all of them are getting different wishes that were not selected from the gift box this year. Faith asks them to feature that wish in their artwork. She asks them to take their time to truly tell the story of these wishes. Wyatt is hanging out with his family when James and Meg move ahead. Grant asks him to talk about his feelings, but Wyatt is confused about what happened with him and Faith. He felt like they shared a moment at the party, but seems to have misread it. Grant is sure they have great chemistry and thinks Wyatt did the right thing by telling her his feelings. Grant feels she could have reacted that way because she was scared of messing up their friendship. This makes sense to Wyatt, and Grant feels like he needs to be willing to risk more to get his love. He shows him a flyer for Faith's art show, and Wyatt is proud she came up with a solution. Ryan gifts Robert some drumsticks for Christmas and hopes he uses them. Only Ryan's gift is left, so Robert hands it to him. Ryan hesitates before opening it and gets down on one knee. He explains that the moment to propose never felt right, but he thinks everything is perfect with Maddie. He knows she found the ring box because she put it back in the other pocket. He shows her the ring and knows it's not some big gesture with fireworks, but he has loved spending this week with people she loves and asks her to marry him. Everyone gets teary as they get engaged, and Maddie proudly shows her ring. The doors to the art show get opened, and a lot of people gather to admire the children's work. Faith asks Maddie and Ryan to talk loudly to the kids about art to encourage people. Wyatt turns up with a gift for Faith and claims he would never have missed this. She didn't bring his gift along because she didn't know if he would be there. When he spots Marilyn, he asks her to go ahead while he holds on to the gift. When Faith approaches Marilyn, she's admiring the painting of a wish she made. She doesn't get much time with her husband and was hoping to have a vacation with him. But what the child has drawn is perfect already. Faith explains how much these kids love art, and they pour all their hard work into it. Adrian and Stella approach Marilyn to gift her a sketchbook, since they heard she used to draw too. Marilyn feels this gift is very special. Faith explains that these shy kids have finally opened up with each other through art. She asks her to give them another chance. She feels like the kids gave her what she wished for, and she should too. Faith asks around for Wyatt to give him some good news. He's missing, but Maddie gives her the box he left for her. Grant asks her to open the present right there. She finds a note from Wyatt. who wanted to give her something because she gives so much to others. He gifts her shoes similar to the ones she gave to Mrs. Klaus. Grant admits he spent hours in the store asking women for their opinion. Maddie is sure his feelings for her are real. Grant also admits that Wyatt has been trying to ask her out for months. Faith knows Wyatt tried to explain this to her, but she kept telling him he might be confused. She feels bad for thinking his feelings aren't real. She also realizes this might be what the wish was leading up to. She finally sees the wish in a different light and wants to find him. Joyce invites everyone for the play before the service. She announces that she's fulfilling a wish for the whole family and asks Michael to come up on the stage. Michael claims his wish was to see A Christmas Carol live with his grandpa. Joyce explains she is granting that wish. She asks Michael to be Tiny Tim, and they begin the play. Robert acts as the perfect Grinch who is mean to his nephew, played by Ryan. Mrs. Klaus finds Wyatt standing in front of the box and asks if he wants to make a wish. He thinks it's too late, but she feels there's still magic left. He doesn't think a piece of paper can solve his problem. Mrs. Klaus explains how making a wish is more about being honest with yourself about things that are important. He writes down his wish, but thinks taking a chance didn't work. Mrs. Klaus asks him to not be so sure and disappears when Faith calls out to him. Faith is glad she found him and thanks him for the shoes. She wants to be honest and explains how the last few days were too confusing for her. She felt pulled in different directions, but all of them led back to him. She admits she was scared of admitting her feelings because he's her best friend. But she admits he has always been more than a friend to her, and she loves him too. She finds a wish in his pocket and asks to see it. She learns he wanted to spend Christmas with her. When she kisses him, he asks if she's free. They head over to his house, and she shares how Marilyn agreed to help their program. Faith now feels anything is possible at Christmas again, if someone believes it. She got her wish that year, and hopes everyone else gets it too.